One question that I always get from my students whenever I teach Agile in my PMP live training, my students used to ask me, "Hey Gautam, what is the difference between Agile and Scrum?" In this video, I'm going to teach you what is the actual difference between Agile and Scrum. Stick around until the end of the video to know the difference. Along with that, when you are staying with me until the end, I will be giving you my free access to my PMP Masterclass, where I will be teaching how to pass the PMP exam in less than 30 days, that too without reading single line from any books. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Hi, my name is Gautham Sudakar. I'm working as head of training department with EduHubSpot. So before I start this video, I would like to set up the expectations upfront. Don't have that impression like once you complete watching this video, you will be having an in-detail knowledge on Agile and Scrum. See, that's not the scope of this video. The scope of this video is just to explain the difference between Agile and Scrum. That's it. So with this expectation, let's get started. So let's talk about Agile first. So let's first try to understand the history and evolution of Agile. Let's try to understand where Agile came from. Before I start talking about the history of Agile, I would like to share, one of my personal experience that happened 4 months before, so that I can easily explain the history of Agile. 4 months before, what happened? My wife, she went for her native by taking my kid. So then I was staying alone in my home. Then what I did, I was inviting one of my friends to my home whose face my wife never want to see. I invited him. Then I promised my friend, hey, you know what? I will cook you lamb biryani. Biryani is a very famous food in India. In this entire context, do you all agree? My friend is the customer. I am the one who is going to build a product called biryani to my friend. If he is my customer, I want to get requirements from him, right? I was asking him the requirements of him on the biryani that I'm going to cook. See, in biryani, there are a lot of types of biryani. In northern part of India, they cook a different type of biryani. In the middle part of India, they cook a different, and in southern part of India, they cook a different type of biryani. I was asking him, what type of biryani you want? My friend, who is my customer, he said that, Gautam, anything is fine for me. The next question I was asking is, hey, do you want to have your biryani with the maximum spice or with the medium spice or with very less spicy? He again said, Gautam, anything is fine for me. I just need a tasty biryani. Then after that, anyone will have a taste bud towards salt, right? I was asking my friend, hey, either you need a very salty biryani or medium one or less salt biryani. For that also, he again said, Gautam, anything is fine for me. I just need a tasty biryani. Now with this entire context, do you agree that the requirement of my friend is not so clear? He himself don't know what he really wants, right? Then what I did, I got these needs from my friend. Then I have decided to do this cooking of mutton biryani as a project. What I did an upfront detailed planning. During the planning, I got to know, okay, my friend requirements is not so clear. I myself assume some requirements. I assume myself that, hey, you know what? Let me cook the southern side of biryani to my friend. And let me cook a very high spicy biryani, maximum spicy biryani. And let me add some medium salt in it. And then let me prepare biryani for him. So what I did, I assumed some requirements. After that, I did a detailed planning. I was listing down what are the materials I should procure in order to cook biryani. I was listing it down. I was doing a planning. Once the planning is completed, I did execution. During the execution, I did the work. I actually prepared the biryani. And throughout the project, I was monitoring and controlling. Means I was tasting biryani by myself during the entire process of cooking. For me, taste was very good. Then by end of execution, I had the mutton biryani, lamb biryani ready. During the closure, I handed over this biryani to my friend. Can you guess what was his feedback? He said, Gautam, this is one of the worst biryani I have tasted. We could have ordered outside. So now what happened? My friend needs was not so clear and I cooked biryani in what life cycle? In waterfall life cycle, in predictive life cycle. I did all the planning upfront and then I just follow the plan. Now this is the same problem in the early 1990s that most of the software development companies had. While they were developing the software, in the beginning, the customer of the software, they themselves don't know what they really want. Replace this mutton biryani with software now. Customer, like my friend, customer was not knowing what they really want on the software. Lot of software companies assumed customer needs, assumed the requirements of the software because customer were not so clear, and then they were developing the software in waterfall lifecycle. They implemented the entire features on the software. During the closure of the project, they delivered software to the customer. And customers started giving the same feedback what my friend was saying. Hey, this is not I expected in this software. So this is the problem that most of the software companies had in waterfall lifecycle in early 1990s. In order to give solution to this waterfall lifecycle, what happened is in February 2001, 17 prominent thinkers gathered at Snowboard Ski Resort, which is in Utah, in order to find solution to this waterfall lifecycle, in order to come up with some better things. And in this snowboard ski resort, these 17 prominent thinkers, they have defined Agile Manifesto as a replacement for this waterfall lifecycle. And as a part of Agile Manifesto, they have defined 4 key values and 12 principles. Now, let's try to understand a basic overview about these 4 key values and 12 principles. Let's get started. Okay, here we go. So in this particular slide, you are seeing the 4 key values. Let's start with value number 1. Individuals and interactions over process and tools. So what this value says, the process and tools that you're using on your project should always give preference to individuals' decision. Individuals, feedback. While you're doing your project in Agile, always respect the individuals, respect your team members, because they are the one who are doing the project work. And what this value says, the process and tools that you're using on your project should promote interactions between people. Why? Because people are the one who are doing the project. Now, let me give you an example. Are you using Microsoft Teams on your project? Are you using Outlook? Those are what? Those are tools. Is those tools are promoting interactions between people? Yes, it is. So that's what this value says. The process and tools that you're using should respect individuals and it should promote interactions between people because humans are the one who are doing the project. So value number 2, working software over comprehensive documentation. So what this value says, in waterfall lifecycle, let me go one slide back. In waterfall lifecycle, what we are doing an upfront detailed planning, which is a kind of a comprehensive documentation. And then we are developing all the features on the product. And then at the end of the project, we are handing over the product to the hands of the customer. What this value says, implement some features on the product and give it into the hands of the customer as soon as possible. So that customer can really evaluate whether you have developed the product that is meeting the needs of the customer. So now let me explain this value better with the same lamb biryani example. Let's continue the story. So what happened? On day 1, the experience was pathetic, right? My friend didn't like the lamb biryani I cooked. Then what I did on day 2, I promised my friend, hey, you know what? You come back tomorrow, I will cook a nice mutton biryani for you, a nice lamb biryani for you. Then on day 2, I have changed the strategy a little bit. Let me tell you what is the strategical change I have made. So what I did on day 2, my friend again came back to my home. In the first 30 minutes, I just boiled the lamb and after that, I just added some salt on it. Now that's it. That's what I did in 30 minutes. Then what I did, I presented that product. Means the mutton biryani, the lamb biryani is not fully implemented. Some features got added, right? I presented that product into the hands of my friend. He tasted it. He said that Gautham, lamb cooked very well, but the salt is little less. You have to add more salt. Then what I did, I accepted his feedback. In the next 30 minutes, again, I added more salt. Then along with that, I added some Indian spices. I fried the lamb together. Then again, I presented to him. He tasted the lamb again with added Indian spices and I added a little bit of more salt, right? He said that, Gautham, now the salt is perfect. But the thing is like you added more Indian spice. I cannot handle the spice. I took his feedback. Then in the next 30 minutes, what I did, in order to reduce the spice, I added some curd. and after that I put some rice, I cook together, then the entire biryani is ready. Now I gave the biryani into the end product, into the hands of my customer in the 30th minute. My friend said, Gautham, this is something I loved it. By doing this, what value I have respected? This one, working software over comprehensive documentation. This means in a short time period, 30 minutes, I implemented some features on the product and gave it into the hands of the customer. That's what this value says. So what is the third value? Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Now this value, working software and customer collaboration are closely connected. What happened with my friend? In that 30 minutes, I cooked a small thing and then I gave it into the hands of my friend who is my customer. He said that, hey, add more salt. What I did? I collaborated with him instead doing contract negotiation. Now let me tell you what is contract negotiation. Let's go with the same example. Consider my friend asked me to add more salt, right? At that point in time, when I say to my friend who is my customer, hey, you know what? You are the one in the beginning of the project, you said add this much amount of salt. According to that only I have added. Now why you are coming up with some changes? When I ask this, what mindset I have a contract negotiation mindset. When you're doing your project in Agile, you should not have this mindset. You have to collaborate with the customer. What is the last value? Responding to change over following a plan. Let me explain with the same example. My friend said, reduce spice. What I did? I responded to the change by adding curd. Now, after defining these 4 values, those 17 prominent thinkers have defined one of the most important statement, which is you're seeing on the slide. Kindly read this. While there is a value in the items on the right, we value the items on the left more. So this means all the 4 values I can group into 2. What you're seeing here, these are nothing but items on the left. What you're seeing here, these are nothing but items on the right. As an Agile practitioner, it doesn't, just because it is mentioned over, it doesn't mean like you will completely ignore the items on the right. No. As an Agile practitioner, you have to respect the items on the right, but what is your preference? Items on the left. You prefer items on the left more than the items on the right. That's what they stated. Now let me ask you a question. These 4 values are very high level, right? If I have not explained these 4 values, it will be very difficult for you to understand these 4 values because these are at very high level. And that's what those 17 prominent thinkers also thought. After defining these 4 values, they thought these values are at very high level. Then they have decided to decompose these 4 values into 12 principles. Now, on this particular slide, you are seeing from principle number 1 to 6. What I would request you is pause this video and then read this principle number 1 to 6. Do it right now. I hope you have completed reading. Now I will be showing you principle number 7 to 12. Again, do the same. Pause this video and then please read principle number 7 to 12. Please do it right now. I hope you have completed reading. Now let me ask you a question. Tell me, what is Agile? Kindly be aware, Agile is nothing but a mindset. It's simple. These 4 values and 12 principles, this is Agile. It is just a mindset. Now let me ask you a question. Just with this mindset, can you develop a software? Can you develop a product? No, you can't. Do you think like just with these statements you can develop a product and software? No, you can't. So what you need some framework. You need some framework. By using that framework, you can apply these values and principles and then you can develop a software or product. Now let me ask you a question. Please tell me one of the famous Agile framework, Scrum. Scrum is one of the most popular Agile framework. When you are using Scrum framework, you can apply this complete Agile mindset and then you can build a product. You can build a software. Apart from Scrum, Agile mindset has other framework as well like XP, Crystal, Kanban, Lean. Let's not go into it. Let's stick to Scrum now. Now let me explain what is Scrum. As I already set up the expectations upfront, I'm not going into the details of Scrum. I will just presenting you Scrum in a very high level because the entire purpose of this video is to know the difference between Agile and Scrum. Okay, so what is Scrum? Scrum is a lightweight framework. Scrum has some events, Scrum has some roles, and Scrum has some rules that binds these events and roles together so that you can apply all the agile mindset and then you can build a product. Now, in my slide, the entire Scrum process flow is depicted. Now, if you want to do a project, if you want to build a product or software using Scrum framework, the first document you have to create is product backlog. In product backlog, you should write product goal. And after that, you have to list down what are the requirements that you want to implement on this product. Product backlog is created. Once the product backlog is created, you should start a sprint. What is sprint? Sprint is a small time duration. Now the next question comes, Gautham, what can be the possible sprint duration? It can be anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks. I would say anywhere between 10 to 20 or 25 days, not more than that. Now let's say our sprint duration we have picked for our project is 20 days. On day one, what will happen? On day one, you have to do a meeting called sprint planning. Let me tell you what are the things will happen in sprint planning. In sprint planning, you have to define sprint goal. And after that, you have to look at the product backlog. And then you have to take requirements from the product backlog that you can implement in that particular sprint. And those requirements will be decomposed into tasks and development team members will take the task and assign to themselves. These are the things will happen in sprint planning. Along with that, in sprint planning, you create a document called sprint backlog. What sprint backlog will have? The requirements that you want to implement in that particular sprint and also those task information you will be writing in the sprint backlog. Once the sprint planning is completed on day one, for some time period in your sprint, for example, when your sprint duration is 20 days, on day one sprint planning will happen. From day 2 until day 18, you can do what? Execution of the sprint. When I say execution of the sprint, as a name suggests, during this execution time period, your development team members will actually do the work. When you are executing the sprint, every day, what meeting will happen? Think about a meeting which your team don't want to attend, which is daily scrum. That will happen. It is a 15 minutes meeting, and in that meeting, you will be inspecting your sprint progress by development team answering to the 3 questions. What I did yesterday, what I'm going to do today, am I facing any issues or not? Then once the execution of the sprint is completed, you have to do a check. What check you have to do is, you have to take the requirements that you have picked in that particular sprint. And then you must check whether those requirements are meeting the definition of done. When all the requirements are meeting the definition of done, what is born? An increment is born. What is increment? A usable product, which is something you can launch to the market. That should be the target of a sprint. Whenever you're completing a sprint, at the end of the sprint, you have to come up with an increment, a usable product so that you can launch. Whether to launch that or not is the customer and product owner's decision. Once you come up with an increment, consider your sprint duration is 20 days. On 19th day, you can conduct a meeting called sprint review. What will happen in sprint review? Simple, demo and feedback. Development team members will present the increment that they have developed to product owner and customer. By seeing that, customer or product owner can give the feedback on the product. Any feedback that is given in sprint review, what will happen? It goes back to the product backlog. And again, it gets prioritized based on value and technical dependency. Then once the sprint review is completed, on the last day of the sprint, what meeting will happen? Retrospective. In retrospective, we will be discussing what went well, what not went well, and what is the improvements that we can do. Those things will be a discussion, which is nothing but a lessons learned meeting. Now, listen to me very carefully. When you're defining any improvements, and in order to do these improvements, when you really want to do a work, those improvements also just follow this arrow. It has to go back to the product backlog, and then it has to get prioritized based on value and technical dependency. So kindly be aware, product backlog is a work in progress. Any work that you want to do as a part of your project should go back to the product backlog. Now you got a Scrum process flow as an overview. Now, let me bring back the statement that I have made in the beginning. Not in the beginning, in the middle of the video. What I said, Agile is a mindset, right? So these 4 values and 12 principles is Agile. And what I said, with that mindset, you cannot develop a product. You need a framework like Scrum to apply this mindset so that you can build a software or product. Now let me explain my statement with a practical example by doing a small match the following exercise so that you can better connect. So now let me take one agile principle. Okay, on the screen that on my slide, you're seeing an agile principle. Let me take the first agile principle. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Now, on the right hand side, you're seeing some agile practice. I won't say agile practice, scrum practice you're saying. When you're asking me to map this agile principle with a scrum practice, I will be mapping this with incremental delivery. What is incremental delivery? By end of every sprint, you have to come up with an increment, and then you should deliver that increment, which is a usable product, to the customer. That's what Scrum practice said, right? Just now you have learned. So how this mindset is implemented in Scrum? By making an incremental delivery. That's what I said. Agile is a mindset. Just with that mindset, you cannot run or develop a product or software. You need some framework like Scrum so that you can apply this mindset, you can build a product. Let me show you one more example. Read this. Deliver working software frequently with a preference for a shorter time cycle. How this mindset is implemented in Scrum? By making a rule called sprint, by making a Scrum practice called sprint. So what they are saying in this mindset, in every shorter time cycle, you have to deliver a working software. What is this shorter time cycle? Which is nothing but a sprint. It's a small time duration. And then are you delivering working software by end of every small time duration? Yes, you are making incremental delivery as well. That's what I said. This is a mindset. In order to apply the mindset, you have framework like Scrum. So finally, we have completed the discussion on learning the difference between Agile and Scrum. Hope you got the difference. If you have liked this video, if you think like I have provided value through this video, just smash the like button. Along with that, a humble request from my side, please subscribe to our EduHubSpot YouTube channel. There is a reason I'm requesting you to do that. Moving forward, I will be launching a lot of free content related to PMP. When you are subscribing to my channel, you will get a notification and these videos will tremendously help you. And at the beginning of the video, I promised when you are staying with me until the end, you will be getting free access to my PMP Masterclass. Now it's a time for me to give you that. In the description of this particular video, I have given the registration link of my free PMP Masterclass where I will be teaching you how to pass the PMP exam in less than 30 days, that too without reading single line from any books. You can access the link and then you can sign up for my masterclass for free of cost. I am very excited to see you in my masterclass. Also, if you want to reach out to me, please write me an email. My email ID is gautham.sudakar@eduhubspot.com that you will be seeing on the screen as well. You will get my response not later than 24 hours. Along with that, I'll be giving my LinkedIn ID in the description of this particular video. Let's stay connected and then let's help our project management community. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will be meeting you all soon in another great video. Until then, bye. Take care.